Hey guys, it's Miss Smith here with some fun science again today. So yesterday we went to dig in the soil, and I hope you guys found all kinds of really neat things in the soil. It sounded like you did from your comments. So did anybody know the names of any kinds of the soils? I saw a lot of things that you found, but there are certain names for these soils. So today I found some samples, most of the ones that I used yesterday. And there is a name for these. The main kinds of soil, right here you're going to see something that's got a little mixture in it, but it's mostly sand. Okay? And then over here we have humus, lots of organic matter. And in this one we have clay. All right? Now, the next two soil samples I have, this one is from the woods, so it kind of has a little mixture. It's a really rich soil that has lots of different organic matter in it. And this one also has a little mixture of soils, more sand and clay than organic matter. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about soil and why it's important, and look at the rate that water is absorbed in the soil, because we know water is very important. The work of soil. How does it keep from falling over? Look at this huge tree. How does it keep from falling over? There's a couple of different factors there, but the main answer is soil. Soil helps hold the roots of the tree in place. Soil helps hold the roots of all plants in place. Some plants, like grass, have many small roots growing into the soil. Other plants, like carrots and parsnips, have one big root that grows deep. We call those the root vegetables. Smaller roots grow from one big one. The roots of plants take in water from the soil. They also take in nutrients from the soil. Water and nutrients help plants live and grow. So it's very important that the plants that are in the soil have a chance to absorb that water. So we're just going to kind of do a little experiment today and see how our different soils absorb water. So I have all these soil samples in a little coffee filter, and we're going to put 1 cup of water into each one and see what happens. See how the soil, that type of soil, retains or holds the water. So let's try this one. This one is sand. Let's see what happens with this one. Ah, it fell. Okay, here's the sand. And there is a little gravel mixed in with that sand. So the water is taking a few minutes to go through there, but it is going through, and you can see it dripping down in the jar. So we'll go around and we'll test our other little samples. So here is the soil sample we called humus. Let's see what happens when we put the water into the humus. Okay, I hear the water dripping through. All right, now let's try a 1/2 cup of water in the clay. Here's the clay. Okay, you can see it's kind of in big chunks. Let's see what happens when we pour that water over the clay. Okay. Well, it's almost all ran through there. Look at that. Almost all of it immediately drained through the clay. Now this one is still dripping a little bit. And that first one, the sand, is still dripping a little bit. All right, so now let's try this 4th soil sample that has a variety of soil types in it. Let's see what happens when we pour it in there. Now, that one is dripping through pretty well. And the soils. Now let's try the last one. The last one is another mixture, but this one has more sand than organic matter. So let's see what happens when it goes through there. It's doing like the sand before. See how all the water is kind of puddling up at the top? Puddling up at the top, and it's dripping through slowly. So I put the same amount of water in all these jars. Let's go back to the first one. The first one is the jar that had the sand and gravel. The second jar was the humus. The third jar was the clay. And then the last two jars were a mixture of all three. This first one had mostly clay, and the second one had mostly organic matter. So what do you think? No, it had more organic matter. This one had more sand. I see the one in the middle here, the clay seemed to let the most water come through. The first one, the one that was sand, is still, the water's still dripping through it slowly. And the last one that had a lot of sand in it is still slowly dripping. So I wonder what that says about those soil types. Well, tomorrow we'll read some more and we'll talk a little bit more about this experiment. Sand and gravel, humus, clay, a mixture, but mostly organic matter and humus. And this one was a mixture, but mostly sand. So what kind of conclusions do you think you can draw from how much water filtered through that type of soil? Think about that.